Well. How's everybody doing tonight? Uh, this is cool. I already see comments and reactions, and so this is the first time I've ever done a YouTube live, and it's pretty cool. So we'll see if I can stumble my way through it, and we'll all have a great time. First of all, hi Ray, what's shaking? First of all, hi Brian, John. Um, Maro, Nick. This is very cool. So do this if you can hear me, and I'm assuming because you guys are saying hello, but just if you can hear me and see me, just say hi, and we'll see. Hola, Adrian. And we'll just make sure that for starters, everyone can see and hear. I am super excited as well, Daniel. This is going to be totally fun. So, perfect. It looks like, yeah, it looks like you can all see and hear perfectly fine. Hi, Molly. I think I'm speaking with you tomorrow, maybe. Maro, thank you. You were the first person who's like, I can actually hear you, and I know there's a little delay, I think, too. So this is awesome. What I'm gonna do, gang, is first of all, welcome to the Goalie Success Secrets Masterclass. It's just sort of how goalies are gonna go from average to consistent and confident in the net. Simple, eh? So that's all we're going to cover. It won't take too long. It's like pretty straightforward. But I'm going to share some of the secrets and strategies that don't really get on the radar. So we're going to have a great time. I'm going to dive right in. My bedtime is around 8:30 Eastern time. So we're on a time crunch here. So I'm going to dive right in. I'm going to share my screen with you. So if you could just be so kind as to say, like, hey, Maria, I see your screen. That would be fantastic. And I will probably have to pop out of this to come back and see what you're saying, because once I go to share my screen, I can't see what you're saying. So I might actually just pop out of this for a second, come back, make sure you guys can see what I'm putting up there. So just let me know if you can see my screen when I shared it. I'm sure you can. Yeah, you can see it. Awesome. Thanks, Ray. Ray, you are so quickly becoming one of my favorite people in the world. Awesome. Katie, thank you. Susan, whoop. Tim, Elizabeth, awesome. Okay, then we're gonna jump. I don't need to read. It's not the polka dot door the polka dot door. I don't need to read all your names. Going back into sharing the screen. We're gonna dive on in here. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about the 3 secrets. And really quickly, here you go. Here are the 3 secrets. Having a laser vision. So where are you going and what will it take to get there? Having an action plan. So what are the exact actions you need to take to transform into the goalie you need to be to get to where you want to go? And then it's about executing and monitoring. So being consistent when you execute. I have never worked with a goalie who has played to their highest level without doing the right things consistently. I've had goalies that, they get super motivated and they go on a little sprint maybe for 3 months or 6 months or even a year, and then they back off. And then they take off again and then they back off. And their career follows a similar, pattern. It's up and down and up and down. And so they play well and they take their foot off the gas, and then they start playing poorly, and then they get so frustrated that, okay, I'm going to work really hard again. What we're looking for is successful goalies. So you're going to be consistent and you're going to evaluate your progress. There you go. There's just 3 secrets. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me. This was really fun. No, we'll go a little deeper. So there's a ton of value coming up, and I know everyone tells you this. It's like, so shut off all your distractions. But seriously, shut off all your distractions. I won't take up too much of your time, and I want to make sure you get value from all of this. So I've been working with goalies for about 20 years, and so I've worked with hundreds, if not, over 1,000 goalies. I don't really keep count of these things, but here's what I see, and here's what I've observed. Most goalies take kind of a shotgun approach to their training. They see something on Instagram or somewhere, and they're like, oh, I'm going to do that. And, oh, but I better do a little bit of this. And it's just a very broad, almost like a just in case, I better do some of this and some of that approach. Some goalies don't work hard at all. Some of y'all are just downright lazy, but some work hard, really hard, on the wrong things. A lot of goalies, most goalies bounce around from team to team. They feel undervalued. They are inconsistent in the net. They struggle with their confidence. And really those two things go hand in hand. It's very hard to feel confident in your game when your performance is all over the place. Game-winning goalies, they manage their energy. They work hard on the right things. So the focus isn't working as hard as possible. The focus is on being as good a goalie as you possibly can be. And that means just working on the things that are going to help you stop the puck. Those goalies get opportunities. They manufacture their own opportunities, but they also get opportunities presented to them. They have an unshakable belief in their ability and what they can accomplish if they continue to work hard on the right things, and they own the process. So they don't waste their time or energy complaining about, how bad your D is or how your coach is stupid or things like that. They really just focus on what can I control. So settle in, stick around. If you're a motivated goalie, committed to playing at the highest level, this is exactly for you. Stick around if you know you have untapped potential. You believe in the goalie you can be. You just need a way to prove it. You know that going to the gym and just lifting heavy isn't enough. If you really feel that obligation to your team, and you take it seriously. If you know that staying healthy is a key to your success, but you're not sure if you're doing the right things to accomplish that, this is the right place for you. And I'm saying this in the very nicest possible way, with love and respect for your time. But you can leave if no one's going to convince you that CrossFit or P90X isn't the best training a goalie could do. And I see that, and I see lots of people who are just so they love it so much that they really think that that's all that a goalie should do. So if that's you and you're not interested in being shown a different way, then we will chat later. If you think being the hardest worker is the solution, so if you just want to work hard, then that's not what I'm here to talk about. If you're going to blame your team and politics for your situation season after season, no. If you're an information junkie but never take action, so I love you too. It's very nice. Some people really like to collect information. They watch all my videos, love watching all the videos, but they never actually do any of the training. And that isn't going to help you. So this is really about helping you succeed. If you aren't serious about being that last line of defense, if you don't take that obligation seriously, not for you. It's also not going to be for you if you're going to get mad when, after I give you 45 minutes of the exact strategies I've used to help goalies like you achieve their goals, make saves they had no business making. They knew it. Your coaches knew it. Your teammates knew it. Everybody knew it. But at the end of this, I'm going to give you an exclusive opportunity to work with me at a discount. Some of you, actually, a bunch of you are already in this pilot group. I've already interviewed you, but we'll talk about it at the end of today's class. So if that's going to make you sour, then you can just again, we'll speak later. Because I am beyond excited to welcome a few of you into this new program I've been cooking up. I've been talking about it a bit. This isn't a sales pitch. I am gonna, give you this really helpful information. But if you're the right fit, a couple of you are gonna get a spot in here. My sole mission is helping motivated goalies win more games with fewer injuries so they can achieve their goals and live their dreams. Period. I sold my gym. I essentially only work with goalies now. That's how committed I am. So stick around to the end. I'm also going to do a live Q&A, and I'll, even if it's not a question about something we covered in this masterclass, I'll stick around and answer your questions as long as I can. I have to have time to get ready for bed, but I'm sort of like a 6-year-old. If I don't get to bed in time, then there's sort of temper tantrums. But type your questions in as we go, but I will circle back to them and get them at the end. So that's how we'll roll it. If there's just too many questions and comments flying around, I might ask you to type it in again. But how does that sound? Is everybody ready to go? If you're ready to go, type "let's do this" in the comments, or give me a thumbs up, and we will jump right on in. So hi, nice to meet you. My name's Maria Mountain. I'm an exercise physiologist. And that's actually true. I didn't just make that up. I have a certification that is exercise physiologist. And I specialize in off-ice training for hockey goalies. It's basically all I do. It's been my main focus for probably the last 10 or 15 years. That's really been a key point of my focus. So it's really nice to meet you, and thanks so much for spending time with me here this evening. So I'm old enough that when I grew up, girls didn't play ice hockey or didn't play hockey at all. And, it wasn't even the thing. And I was a tomboy. I was playing football with the boys and road hockey with the boys, but it wasn't even a thing that as a very active girl, I thought, oh, that's wrong. Or, it's just like, okay, yeah, girls don't play ice hockey. But I did play road hockey. So there's me, probably wearing my older brother's hand-me-down jean jacket, that red baseball mitt, which my dad just thought was such a great baseball mitt, but I always was kind of embarrassed. Like, how come I have a red baseball mitt? Nobody else has a red baseball mitt, but I got great wear out of it, and it was actually a really nice baseball mitt. And that is probably I'm guessing that's probably a Sherwood hockey stick that my yaya, my great grandmother, got me at the Canadian Tire. But I was always the goalie in road hockey. I was always Ken Dryden. Whoever was at the other end was always Mike Palmetier, and we would have some great battles. So I am a goalie at heart, and just probably in the last maybe 5 years now, I've started playing on the ice. I played a little bit of recreational women's hockey after university. I was always a defenseman, but it was really attractive for me to play goalie again, and this was a perfect excuse to buy the equipment. So I got used pads, use everything, use skates, and now I have my own setup. But I get out every Sunday, and yeah, I feel your joys and your pains. But really, my bread and butter, my sandbox, as it were, is helping you guys win more games with fewer injuries. I get this question all the time. It's gotten quite tiresome after 20-something years as a strength coach, but I will answer it for you now. Well, who do you work with? Well, I work with lots of people. I've started as a strength coach in 1994. I've had a chance to work with lots of people. I owned my own athlete development studio in London called Revolution Sport Conditioning for 15 years. Before that, I was the exercise specialist at the Fowler Kennedy Sport Medicine Clinic at Western University. I was a strength coach for men's and women's basketball, volleyball, hockey, and track and field. So I've had the chance to work with a lot of different athletes. But these are a few that, actually, wow, she really does train people. She isn't just an internet trainer. So Virtue and Moyer, if you're from Canada, you definitely know these two. One of the greatest thrills of my life was seeing them win their first gold medal in Vancouver. And then I promptly went to bed because of the time change. And then when I woke up in the morning, there was a voicemail from Scotty, saying something like, "I'm standing at center ice of the PNE and holding my gold medal." So pretty cool. I was a strength coach for the women's Olympic rowing 8, got nipped at the line for a 4th. I am still the strength coach to Damian Warner. I was working with him today in the gym at the last Olympics. He's a decathlete. He got the bronze medal. He won the bronze medal. And I told him when I sold the gym that I would stick around for this Tokyo cycle. Well, this Tokyo cycle got bumped an extra year. So we had a great workout today in the gym. When I started out with Revolution Sport Conditioning, I had developed a really strong reputation for training hockey players, not just goalies. And so Andy McDonald is a client of mine. And he was a sort of a smaller guy, if you remember him playing, but he was able to win the fastest skater competition at the All-Star game and won a Stanley Cup with Anaheim. Now I know you're like, well, but what about the goalies? Well, I think when I was younger, I was more impressed to work with NHL goalies, and I still like to work with NHL goalies, but I really like to work with goalies who have a vision of where they want to get to, are committed to doing the work, and take ownership of the process. So to me now, it really doesn't matter what level you're at. So these are some of the goalies that, I work with. I get, lots of phone calls from NHL goalie coaches or other professional goalie coaches saying, well, look at this video. Why does he or she do this? And how can we make them do that? And, so that's kind of how I like to roll. I will point out Jeff Hackett. He was the very first NHL goalie I ever trained. And I remember, like it was yesterday, him rolling up these bath towels and putting them on the floor, showing me this new technique that was called the butterfly and how it worked and how it took away the bottom of the net. And I remember looking at it thinking, oh, that's amazing. That's incredible. And then my second thought was, yeah, nobody's hips are actually designed to do that. Like, do you know that? And so then I immediately started thinking, what's this going to mean down the road? I have to start designing programs to help goalies so that they can do this, but try to minimize the wear and tear. And that's always been my approach. Obviously I've never been an ice dancer. I've never been a figure skater, but if you study the biomechanics, the muscle physiology, so what are the actions? What are the forces on those muscles? What muscles have to be used? What energy system in those muscles has to be used? Is that a stabilizer or a mover? And then we put those pieces of the puzzle together and come up with exercises that are going to give the most benefit with the least amount of wear and tear. So that's, those are the questions I ask myself before I add any exercise to a program. This is kind of funny. I always get very nervous when my name pops up on GGSU, but really they've been very kind to me, so I appreciate that. Thank you. But one fella says, oh, all right, can y'all help me explain Maria Mountain to a friend of mine? And so this one I kind of liked. It says before Maria Mountain, after Maria Mountain. Now I'm not guaranteeing that you all will have the splits. And Nick, I know you're seeing this and you're thinking, yes, I want to do the splits like my hero. But we've had this discussion. Not everyone can do the splits. I'm just going to leave that right there. That's a discussion for another day. So I am all in for goalies. And if you're all in to learn how I help goalies play with more consistency and confidence, you are in the right spot. Why don't you fire in a little all in so I know that you're with me? I know that I'm not just talking to myself. And I'm going to keep rolling. Let's imagine the goalie that you could be 6 months from now if you implemented these strategies and truly go all in. So that's kind of what I want you to think about right now. Step one is having that laser vision. So what does that mean? Well, that means having a very, very clear picture of where you want to end up. And, I'm surprised sometimes I'll go through this exercise with goalies individually and say, well, where do you want to be playing in 1 year or 2 years? And they're like, I don't really know. It's awfully hard to know, if you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you get there? So you need to develop a laser vision of, hey, where do I want to play? Now, if you're a 16-year-old, and you say, well, where do you want to play in 2 years? And you say the NHL. Okay, that might be a little unrealistic. So, you don't want to aim low, but you don't want to aim, something that's just completely outside the realm of possibility. So, give yourself that stretch goal. Hey, where would you really like to play? Well, somebody say, well, like maybe junior B somewhere. Well, where? And like it's yes, some people it's like, well, just anywhere would be great, but we all have that team that we'd want to play for. So if it's like, well, what team would you want to play for in the NHL? Any team, I don't care. It would just be amazing to play in the NHL. Okay, but you can pick your team. What team would it be? Oh, well, Montreal Canadiens. So you need to know what that is, and then you need to do a little inventory of current you compared to future you that is going to be playing at that, for that dream team. So you're going to grade yourself on mobility, functional strength, speed, stamina, mental game, box control, save selection, skating, nutrition, recovery. Where do you rank on these things? And you have to take a good hard look. If you're not doing any specific mobility training, you can't give yourself an A. So it's like, okay, maybe a lot of these things are a C. I'm pretty good at them, but I'm not actually doing anything strategically to make them better. Okay, well, now let's look at future you. What does future you need? Well, if future you wants to be playing in the NHL, then you better have an A or an A plus in as many of these as possible. If it's future me we're talking about, well then, and I just want to play like maybe in a rec league or something, well, then maybe everything doesn't need to be an A plus, but it's like, okay, maybe I'm a C in all these things, and so I'd like to get my mobility up to a B. I'd like to get my box control up to an A, because that would really help me, not have to move as much. So, you need to figure out where you slot in, but you have to have that vision, and then you have to evaluate where you are now and what needs to change to get you to where you want to be. And we break it down into physical, technical, and mental. So for future me, the physical changes I need to make based on my inventory and rating myself. What tools does future me need on the ice? Do I have a proven plan to get there? From a technique perspective, the first question is always, am I an excellent skater? Do I have practical understanding of box control? Those are two great spots to start. The mental side. Hey, have I researched some mental skills or strategies? Do I practice mental skills or strategies, each and every day to help build that mental muscle, that mental side of my game? So that's having laser vision. Where do I want to go? What needs to change to get me there? Step 2 is having the action plan, because nothing happens without action. There's a reminder here that you can't make chicken salad out of chicken. So in other words, if your action plan sucks, you're not going to achieve your goals. It's like if I come to you and I'm so excited, I'm like, oh, I'm going to run the Boston Marathon. And I start by really working on my paddling, canoeing, or stand-up paddleboarding. It's like, I can work so hard and so diligently on that, but it's not going to help me qualify for the Boston Marathon. And so many goalies do the same thing. They just go to the gym and start, working hard and doing stuff. And it's like, that's great. And I admire your commitment to it, but you're committed to doing the wrong things. So what needs to change based on your inventory? Is it your skating? Is it your mobility, speed, stamina, positioning, functional strength, mindset, nutrition, recovery, hand-eye, puck handling? There's so many things. Where to start? Very simple answer. Start with the big rocks. So a lot of you don't do any goalie-specific training. You want to get to this next higher level. So where do you start? With a fancy light-up board for your hand-eye. That isn't going to be the best use of your time. I'm not saying hand-eye isn't important, but are you an excellent skater? And if there's some parents on here with younger kids, Don't get your knickers in a twist when little Susie has to do the same skating drills as the skaters, even though it is a lot harder. The best thing you can do for a young goalie is help them become an amazing skater, because that motor program will be with them forever. So unless you are like one of the best skaters on your team, counting the skaters, work on that. What's your functional strength like? Do you have goalie specific mobility? You'll find those big rocks, and then chip away at those first before you start getting into the minutia. What is your exact plan? So again, and I think it's more a case that you just aren't aware of what goes into a plan. You kind of think, well, if I have something, on a piece of paper written down that I kind of made up off the top of my head of what I think would be good, that you have an exact plan. But there's a lot more to it. So it's like, well, what's your periodization cycle? And a periodization cycle is cycling through different training phases to get different adaptations in the right sequence, and then circling back around to kind of reshore up the foundation so you can keep building. So it does two things. It kind of keeps you from plateauing in your training, and it also helps your body sustain higher loads of training as you progress. So really, really important. So if you don't know, oh yeah, this is the periodization scheme, this is what I'm working on, and not just off the top of your head again, but like based in the physiology of it, that there's the right sequence there. How many sets exactly are you going to do of every exercise? How many repetitions are you going to do? And again, that isn't just based on, I think I'll do, 12 of those or 50 of those or whatever. It's like, what exact characteristic am I trying to train right now? Is this a prime mover? Is this a power muscle? Is this a stabilizer? The rep range will change for all of those based on that outcome. What's the tempo? If you are doing a workout program right now that doesn't have a tempo associated with the exercises, so that is like, this is how long it takes you to lower the weight. This is how long you pause at the bottom. This is how long it takes you to lift the weight. This is how long you pause at the top. If it doesn't have, some strength coaches only use 3 numbers, but if you don't have 3 or 4 numbers after each rep, then you don't have a tempo, and tempo can completely change the adaptation that you get. So it's like, I made chili for supper tonight. It was delicious. I'm not joking. Best chili I've ever made. Do you want the recipe? Okay, here's the recipe. There was black beans, chickpeas, ground beef, maple syrup, molasses, cayenne pepper, hot pepper, juice from the hot pepper jar. Okay, so there, now you can go and make it. Exactly the same. And you're thinking, well, but like, how much? How much of everything? I can't replicate that because I don't know how much. This is what tempo is. So if you have a program that doesn't have tempo, it's like getting a recipe that doesn't have the measurements for each ingredient. Exercise selection. Why are you picking that specific exercise during that specific phase? Is this the best exercise to get that adaptation with the least amount of wear and tear? What's the progression? What will be our next progression? So, right now in the early off season, and some of you there in the Shoutout Academy, you'll see it, or you've either seen it or you'll see it. I can't remember. Your new phase is coming out tomorrow sometime, but you'll see that like a sumo squat. So that's a good foundational exercise, and there's a specific tempo, which you won't enjoy very much. And then, but where would we go next? What would be a progression? Well, a progression to that would be maybe a squat lateral. Well, what would be the next progression for that? Well, there'd be like a lunge lateral to balance. You get the idea, but there has to be that progression. What exactly are you going to do for mindset skills? I talked to a lot of you who are like, well, I need to be mentally tougher. Okay, well, how will you do that? I'll just focus more. that's pretty wishy-washy. And what exactly are you going to work on for your on ice tactics? How exactly are you going to improve the areas that you need to improve? Okay, so yeah, look at who's designed the program for you. Did you cobble it together yourself? Is this the program your goalie coach did when he or she was in college? Yeah, does this person have a experience and sort of earn a living coaching goalies? Is it based in science and proven to work? And then also ask yourself, like, do I have time to waste with trial and error? If you are a recreational goalie and you want to get better, but you really like monkeying around with your workout program and, kind of want to try different things. And if it isn't getting you there the fastest, like that's okay because you're just having fun and trying a bunch of different things. That is totally cool. But if you are a goalie who, has a window to sort of reach your peak and you don't have time to waste on trial and error, then you want to get sort of that proven plan and try to take that straight line to success. If your action plan doesn't help bulletproof your knees, hips, ankles, back, then you're making yourself vulnerable to injury too. And one of the most important things you can do is keep yourself as healthy as possible. We can't prevent all injuries. Injuries happen, but we can reduce your risk. Here's a hint. If you're going to the gym and using machines a lot, so leg press, knee extension, hamstring curl, even that groin machine thing, or if you're just focusing on lifting heavy, that could be a little bit of an issue. There's in Justin Goldman and Mike Valley's new book called The Power Within 2, an amazing read. Definitely pick it up. But Eddie Lack talks about, like, Eddie had to retire because of injury. He had an NHL career cut short because of injury. And he talks about how, like, he was that guy who wanted to be the hardest worker. He wanted to lift more than anyone in the gym. And he added a lot of wear and tear to his hips, knees, back that probably didn't really help him that much on the ice. And it ended up cutting his career short. The problem with a lot of the injuries that goalies get is they develop over time. They're like a cumulative trauma injury. So it feels fine when you're doing it. When you're 18 years old, it's like, my hips don't hurt, my back is fine. But then those things will often flare up when you're maybe between 19 and 25. And if you have the talent, you're really getting some opportunities, but now it's like, okay, well, now my hip impingement's so bad that my butterfly's getting narrower and narrower, but I'm getting these opportunities and I feel like I have to keep playing with pain, and then you can't perform your best, and it sort of gets into a vicious cycle. Rob Tallis is also in there. Rob has been the goalie coach for the Panthers forever, and he's continuing to be part of their goaltending development team. But Rob talks about when they're drafting players and scouting players, and he talks a lot of times, or their scouts will talk to the team physiotherapist or the team athletic therapist to just see, like, hey, is this guy or girl in here? I guess guy for the NHL, but are they in here, sort of all the time getting treatment? Because to them, they're thinking, okay, maybe there's a little injury prone issue here. So, and this is a good, just sort of, it's not just me saying this, but this is from a guy who, I've known him for years through Goalie Training Pro. He's been a follower for a long time, and he's a very good athlete. And so it's kind of funny because, he's one of those guys who's always like, but I really like lifting heavy. And it's like, hey, like, if you love it, I'm not going to say you can. I'm just going to tell you it isn't the best, way to develop as a goalie. So he posts this. He says, so I thought I was in reasonably good shape for a middle-aged beer leaguer. I can squat in the 400s, deadlift the same, run for 30 minutes, and play back-to-back games without collapsing, until the third period of the second game at least. But I did the first game-changer workout in the Beer League MVP program, which was a free program I did. Like, so again, it's kind of like the butterfly challenge is like the simplest thing, like mobility program you could ever do. This is kind of that, like a version of that. And I I posted like a couple years ago. But he says, and it kicked my butt, literally in the case of the clamshells and the glute planks. I get it now, Maria Mountain. I've got the big movers very well trained, but not the smaller stabilizers. I didn't think it would be that hard. Man, I was wrong. So, he's got those big muscles working, but not the stabilizers, and actually not a lot of the lateral pushing muscles that you need, in particular when you're trying to move from your butterfly. So, what he's got are kind of big dumb muscles that don't really help him on the ice. So step number 3, I'm not sure if you can hear Paul's playing video games in the next room. So if you hear some voice coming through, it's him and his friend playing video games. But step 3 is to execute and evaluate. Again, nothing happens unless you actually take the action. So you have to have a good action plan and then actually take action. Then you have to evaluate. So this is like a little report card. So I've gone through, maybe let's say it's my first phase, so a 4-week phase. Okay, well, where am I in my physical, technical, and mental of where I want to be? 100% would be, and this is subjective, but it would be like, yes, I'm exactly where I want to be. So in the physical arrangement, 80% of where I need to be. And the question is, what have you done? What has changed? What's your next best step? So, what have you done for your off-ice training? What has changed? And I mean, what has changed on the ice? What has improved on the ice? And what's my next best step? It takes time. So I was talking to a goalie just the other day, and they were saying, oh, and then I need to peak in 3 months. And it's like, well, like if we've been training together for the past 9 months, and you're saying, oh, and then 3 months from now we need to peak, and we've designed the training that way, okay. But if we're starting today, we're not going to peak in 3 months. We can be a lot better in 3 months, like shockingly better in 3 months, but we're not going to be peaking in 3 months. So it takes time. So we're looking for progress. And then we're looking at what was the focus of this phase? Did that improve? So when I ran the gym, when we would do a complete summer off-season program, so the skaters and goalies would train with me for 5 days of the week, and we would test them every month. Well, if this was, say, the first phase of the off-season, and we tested standing broad jump, and none of their standing broad jumps really improved dramatically. In the first phase, I'm totally cool with that. If their mobility didn't improve in the first phase or their stability, then I would be worried. But I'm not worried about their standing broad jump now. If their standing broad jump doesn't improve in the 3rd phase or the 4th phase, then I'm going to be worried. So, it's like, what was the focus of this phase? Did that improve? Because there are going to be a million things that maybe don't improve yet, but what were we focusing on, and did that improve? And then we look at, okay, hey, what's next? Same with technical. What have you done? What's changed? What's your next best step? What did I focus on in practice? So if you don't have a plan going into your practices, hey, today I'm going to, work on this. This is one of the big rocks I need to improve. This is what I'm focused on. This is how I'm going to improve it today in practice. So what did you focus on in practice? Are you using that in game? So has it become enough of your toolbox that you can pull it out and use it when you need it? Then you look at, what mistake is costing me goals? What am I doing that's costing me goals? And maybe it's just, I'm too slow. I can't get over fast enough. Okay, well then we need to work on lateral speed. Maybe it's, I lose my net sometimes. Okay, then we need to do more work on box control. How do I improve that? The mental game. What have you done? What has changed? What's your next best step? So what specific strategies did I employ? And if you can't say, well, so this is what I did. Before every practice and every game, I had 2 3-word mantras that I used to keep me focused on the ice. If you can't tell me exactly what your strategy was, if I asked you that question, you're like, well, some days I sort of did this, and then sometimes I sort of did a warm up. No, you aren't taking action. You don't have an action plan. Did I practice those skills in practice and in daily life? If you struggle with negative self-chatter, did you focus on using positive self-chatter not only when you're on the ice, but away from the ice? Did those strategies work? Yes. Keep using them. Did they work? No. Let's try to find another strategy. Or, if it gets to the point where this is a huge thing, I'm trying myself, it's not getting better, that's when you need to call in, Pete Fry or John Stevenson and get somebody to really help coach you through that. So the only way you know if it's working is if you're reevaluating. So those are kind of the 3 key steps, but this is what ties it all together. And I really think it's a confidence builder, and that's your goalie journal. So the goalie journal will include a training log, an on-ice tracker, and a goal tracker. And then you can add in, maybe you want to have a nutrition tracker, a sleep tracker, habit tracker, whatever. But I see confidence as a skill that your body develops from consistently doing the right things well. I think that physically and mentally, your body knows if you're prepared, and tracking and writing down everything you've done to prepare yourself helps you feel more confident. So let's look at each of these. And I'm not going to say like, oh, this is exactly how you have to lay it out. You find what works for you, but I will give you some examples on how it works. I'm just checking the time here to see how we're doing. Okay. Not bad. So the first part is the training log. And if you're in the Shutout Academy, you know this. We have it every single month. We fill it out as you go. But you record every workout, every exercise set, rep, time split, testing results, your energy level, your perceived exertion, any other notes are in there. So, this is kind of how I lay mine out. Now, this isn't an exact workout. This would be a kind of a weird workout, but I just wanted to show you how I use it. So, if I'm doing my rear foot elevated split squat, here's my sets, reps, tempo. So in this workout, I did 6 on each side with 20-pound dumbbells. Second set, I felt pretty good. So I went 25. Maybe my technique fell off a bit towards the end. So I went back to 20s for the last set. Side plank hip abduction, I had to do 8 on each side. I did those. And then I was off to do my 300-yard shuttle runs with 2 minutes of rest in between. So, the first one was 56 seconds. Second one was 60 seconds. But then I was full on bagged. And the last one took me 72 seconds. I was crawling by the time I got to the finish line. So then I like to write in my energy level. And so on this day, my energy level was 7 out of 10. I just say, oh, my legs felt really heavy. What was my rating of perceived exertion? How hard was this workout for me? Well, this was a 9 out of 10. This was a really hard workout for me. And then we look at the next day. Okay, this day, actually, I got 25 pounds, 6 reps for 25 pounds for all my 3 sets. I did my side plank hip abduction. My 300-yard shuttle runs were 55 seconds, 61 seconds, 62 seconds. So pretty good, not nearly as much of a drop off. My energy level was like a 9. I felt good. I had a great sleep. This workout felt like an 8 out of 10 to me. So it didn't feel quite as hard. It was still a hard workout, but it didn't feel quite as hard as yesterday's did. I had probably because I had a little bit more energy. So that's how you track it. And it's helpful because, let's say in the next phase, I don't have rear foot elevated split squats, but the phase after that I do. Well, I can come back to this and say, oh, okay. Or even like at the start of next off season, I can go back and be like, okay, I was using 25 pounds last year. That gives me an idea where I can start. Or it also shows improvement because sometimes when we train over and over, and I've had this experience with athletes at Revolution, and we write down every workout just like this at Revolution, but they'd be like, I don't feel like I'm improving. I feel really stuck. We just open their book and it's like, last year this time you were using 10-pound dumbbells. Now you're using 25s, or even like at the start of this phase, you were using 25s. Now you're using 35s. So it's a good way. Plus, if if you're under the weather or something like that and you're away from training and have to come back, you kind of know where to start. You don't have to kind of put in the guesswork. Then is your on-ice journal. And that's where you're going to record every single skate, What are you going to focus on? What's your win for that outing based on a process goal? So on something you can control, not, oh, I don't want to get scored on more than twice. You don't actually control that as much as we wish we did. How did it go? What did you do well? What could have been better? What will you focus on next time? So this is actually literally from my journal. So this was March 14th. I give myself a score out of 10 just based on how I feel I did. So this was 7.5 out of 10. My win for today was getting my stick on shots along the ice. So I will lift my stick up and do all sorts of crazy things with it that it's like, where was my stick? So if I can get my stick on shots that are along the ice, that's a win. Did I win? Yes. How did it go? So so this is a little bit embarrassing, but I put it in anyway. I think of using my stick as a lightsaber. So it's like a lightsaber that I just point at the puck all the time. And then obviously if you're pointing a lightsaber at the puck can't go in the net, right? So that's a little visual that I use. I played good depth because I tend to drift back too much. So I played a good depth and then just waited for the play to come to me. So rather than getting nervous and just backing up more, it was just like, no, I'm going to wait here until this guy makes a move. Other than focusing on my stick, I just played the game, which is when I play a little better. I don't play well if I'm thinking about too many things. I made good saves. I'm happy with how I played. The next time I wanted to battle more because I feel like sometimes I make a really good first save and then I'm almost stunned a little bit. And often there's a second shot, third shot, fourth shot when I play. And sometimes the fourth shot goes in and I will also think, well, that was the fourth shot, but I actually want to battle more for the puck. And so the next time I went out, one of my mantras was, I want that puck, so no matter what, I want it. Then there's your goal tracker. So you'll record, a long-term goal, a year more, 3-month goals, like rough action plan, monthly goal, detailed action plan, weekly goal, detailed action plan, daily, weekly checklist to stay on track. So this is like the daily, weekly checklist. And this is, again, exactly how I set mine up. I'm going to drink water. So I'm going to work on puck handling 3 times 10 minutes. This is goals for the week. I'm going to have a mental focus for each on-ice session. So know what my mental focus is going to be for each on-ice session. I'm going to get in all of my off-ice workouts. And then and I plan this out ahead of time. So I don't just make this up as I go along, like, well, today I did this. It's like, no. So on Monday, this is what I'm responsible for. I usually do this on a Sunday. Monday, I'm going to do full body workout 1. I'm going to do mobility number 2. Tuesday, I'm going to do category 2 stamina for 20 minutes, and I'm going to do my puck handling for 10 minutes. And then I check these off as I go along. And if I'm not getting them done, then I know I need to either buckle down or adjust my schedule. But either way, at the end of the week, month, year, you can look back and be like, yeah, I did what I said I was going to do. Or, if things aren't going the way I want them to go, I can look back and say, well, yeah, because I didn't do the stuff I was supposed to do to become the goalie I wanted to be. So you work on that, you course correct, and you carry on. Even if you've done all the stuff, you might get to the end of the month, year, and you're not exactly where you want to be. So then it's time, how do I course correct and keep going and just getting a little bit better and a little bit better. So that's how you win more, stay healthy, and get more opportunities. I know some of you are saying, well, but you didn't tell us what exercises to do. I want to know the exercises to do. But this is where it gets tricky because that's the framework. And I will bet you 99% of you are not following that framework. The exact exercises depend on your current age, your training age, and that means how long have you been doing goalie specific training, what's your injury history, what's your schedule or your time availability, what's your current level of play, where do you want to play, what equipment is available, how often are you on the ice, there are a lot of factors that go into it. If you want to see a bunch of exercises, and I could have just given you a bunch of exercises, but I have literally hundreds on this very YouTube channel. So you can find lots and lots of exercises, but this framework is important, and I've never really shared it before, so I want you to really take it in and use it. It's a very simple formula. You train your body, you train your brain, you train your technique, and you become a game-winning goalie. But it has a very complicated path, and to navigate that path, you kind of have two options. You can either do it yourself through trial and error, or you can let me give you the entire proven plan to follow. So I am looking for a few dream clients. This is going to be sort of a beta group of a new program that I've designed, but this program will be my legacy. So I don't want just any goalie. I want the goalies who are committed to achieving their goals, who want to be a consistent, never quit goalie for their team. Goalies who want to play for as long as possible at their highest level. The ones who are prepared to do the work and just follow the proven plan. This program is for goalies 14 and up. Even 14 is going to be a little young, but I will entertain adding a 14-year-old. But yes, I know some of you will be like, oh, but I'm just a beer leaguer. I explained that at the beginning. I don't care. I care if you are committed to achieving your goals. You want to play for as long as possible at the highest level. You want to be a consistent, never quit goalie for your team. If that's you, then you are eligible. Are you next? Do you want in? Here's how it works. The program is for you if you understand that you will have to do the work. I have never yet conjured a miracle. I'm not optimistic that one is forthcoming. So, so you're going to have to do the work. For now, you're going to have to do the work. If you understand that investing in a proven plan is really the only way to accelerate your success, there isn't a gadget, gizmo, potion, pill, that kind of gets you there. You will need to be vetted first to make sure it's the right fit. So I am interviewing every goalie that gets offered a spot in this program, not just for this beta group, but for everyone who joins this group. Again, this is going to be my legacy program. After today, the response has been actually really overwhelming. So 28 of the 30 spots are already gone, and I think the next 3 days, like the rest of this week's interviews, are already maybe booked. So again, once I run this beta group through, in a couple months from now, I will open it up again to more interviews and to new goalies joining. But for this one, the space is limited. If you're interested, if you're ready to invest, this isn't a free program. So if you're ready to invest, you're ready to do the work, you're ready to find out more, and don't ask me all a million questions about it now. If you're really serious, if you tick all those boxes, then you can go here now and schedule an interview. Now, scheduling an interview doesn't guarantee acceptance into the Game-Winning Goalie Formula program, but we can chat about it. I've actually done so many interviews already, and it isn't right for everyone, and that's okay. And if I say, or you say, now isn't the right time, that's fine. It just means for now. It doesn't mean, I don't want to work with you or we'll never work together. It just means right now probably isn't the right time, and maybe there's some sort of homework you need to do before you get to that stage. So head over there. Book an appointment. Let me know when you've booked your appointment. Just drop in the comments, that you booked an appointment so I can look forward to chatting with you. I'm going to come back on screen here. Actually, I better not do that because you guys need to see that URL. There we go. So that is how she's going to work. I need to get over here, and I'm going to try and find your questions. Holy smokes, we have like 100 people on here. Riker, it's your birthday? Go, shorty. It's your birthday. We're going to party like it's your birthday. We're going to sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. Wow. Wow. There are a million questions. So, what I'm going to do is, if you ask a question, could you just put it in again? Sarah, no, I don't know how to move my picture over to the other side. So it's okay, because I pretty much said every single thing that was on the slides anyway, but I'm not really that technologically advanced. These are great comments. I love it. If you have a question, type it in again, even if you typed it in already, because there's just so many comments here. Maro, yeah, you should get that book by Justin and Mike Valley. It is dynamite. Yeah, Mally, like, a good place to start is, so Molly says she's stretching. She's stretching every day, but not sure she's doing the right things. The butterfly challenge, it's very, very basic, but it actually gives you a wider butterfly flare quickly. So, you can keep working on that. The next level up from that is called strategic mobility for goalies. It's just at strategicmobilityforgoalies.com. That is a more advanced mobility program. I have other mobility programs on YouTube that if you just go to YouTube and search mobility. So there isn't really a reason to not know if you're doing the right things. What's your opinion on ball hockey goalies and if the training would be drastically different? So I don't specialize in ball hockey goalies. It isn't a really super popular sport over here, and I just focus on ice hockey goalies. However, having said that, I've had a lot of ball hockey goalies message me and say, sometimes I'm even talking to them about, in the ice, and they're like, oh, no, like, I'm a ball hockey goalie. And so they do find benefit, but I don't specifically design my programs for ball hockey goalies. Okay. Can I ever set up a Zoom with you? Well, if you are like seriously interested in the program. So I've had a couple people who are just like, oh, I saw that I could talk to you. That's going to be a very quick way to wrap up the conversation really fast, because my schedule is jammed. So I do a live Q&A every single Thursday at 1:00 on Instagram. And so that's a time when you can ask me anything you want to do. I don't do any one-on-one consulting other than the goalies that are in the Turning Pro coaching program. Turning Pro coaching program is $5,000 for the year, and it's where I individually work with you to set up all of your off-ice training programs. It is by application only. It is currently full, but if it's something you're interested in, you can always email help@goalietrainingpro.com, and we'll give you more detail on that. Adrian says, in the skating, is it to be a great skater but not the fastest in a straight line, say against the best forward, but have outstanding edge control? Yes, it's to be the best, goalie skater, or the best edge control, best balance. Not necessarily a straight line sprinter. Sarah, the book is called The Power Within 2 by Justin Goldman and Mike Valley. What exercises should you avoid doing too many if you have a history of knee pain? Sam, it depends. Sam, I think you're younger. And so it's not, a lot of times it's exercises done maybe without the exact right technique. So where the knees are pinching in a little bit together, where the knees are going a little bit too far forward. Your knees can go ahead of your toes. That's not like the cardinal sin. But if you get some patellofemoral discomfort, which is pain under your kneecap, that will irritate it. So the things you're going to avoid things that irritate it. You should go see a good physical therapist, because really, like, when I worked at the sport medicine clinic, I rehabbed patellofemoral pain. Like, probably I had 6 patients a day. who are rehabbing patellofemoral pain. And we can do some pretty simple things, strengthening the lateral hip rotators, teaching, like proper form, how to use their glutes and not just rely on your quads all the time. And that helps it go away. So the beer league MVP, I don't offer it anymore. It's old. It's not my best practices anymore. So I don't kind of recycle things that it's like, oh, that's not exactly what I do anymore. It was like a few years ago. Are some of these transferable between ice and roller? Yes. Do you have a good program for someone who played in high school over 10 years ago, give or take a few years, looking to get back into it? Start with the Butterfly Challenge. Really, it's free. It's an app. Just go to your app store and search Butterfly Challenge. And that's the place to start. Then I would go, so I'm starting you off on the free track. Then I would go to this YouTube channel, Goalie Training Pro TV. And then go to the playlist. It's called 10 Secret Habits of Pro Goalies, because that's a 10 video series. And I think 8 or 9 of them are little mini workouts. And some are mobility, some are strength, some are speed, all ones that you can do at home. With like no equipment or minimal equipment. So then do that. If you stick with that, and same like, if you're just not sure, use that as a test. Are you going to stick with that for like at least a month solid? Then if yes, okay, then maybe it's time to invest in like a more advanced program. Because again, it's basic, but it'll work, especially if you're just getting back at it. And then if you're doing that, then it would be time to look at something like Shutout Academy or this new game-winning goalie program. 37 years old, been playing inline goalie for about 10 years, transitioning ice this summer. Do I start the butter? Yes, exactly. Thanks for a great presentation. Awesome, good. Strategic mobility is outstanding. Thank you, Elizabeth. I designed strategic mobility because some of the goalies I worked with, when they would go to college or when they would go to pro, they had really good strength coaches, or they had to do their team strength program. So they didn't have that wiggle room. But what was really missing was the goalies, and even the strength training wasn't goalie specific, but it's like, okay, yeah, like you got to do what your team has you doing. But then the part that was really missing, that really worried me, was the mobility part. So I made that as really like a very high level mobility program. Mika, what kind of off-ice work should younger Adam Peavy goalies be focusing on? Should they even be doing any sort of strength training? So Mika, this is a great question, and I'm really glad you asked it, because when we're young, like sort of under 14 years of age, or, it depends a little bit on our physical maturation, but let's say under 14 years of age, our nervous system isn't hardwired yet. So we can pick up motor patterns like crazy. It's why we never forget to how to ride a bicycle, because we all learned to ride a bicycle during this window when our nervous system is very plastic. I learned to ski when I was 2 years old, cross-country ski, and then downhill ski, from there. So I'm very comfortable on skis. I cannot ski, for months, and then like first ski back, it's just like my skis are a part of my body. I don't have to think about it. Look at somebody who learned to ski as an adult, and they can learn to do it and have fun. Like I learned to snowboard when I was in my 40s. I can do it, but I'm not comfortable. You see those little ankle biters out on their snowboards, and it's just a part of them because they learned when their nervous system was plastic. Once you get over, your mid-teens and later, and your nervous system becomes hardwired, it's much harder to learn. Like me learning to snowboard. I can do it, but I don't think I'll ever be as fluid, or it'd be very, very hard to be as fluid as those, as I am skiing that I learned to do when I was 2 years old. And then as we get to be, 15, 16 and more physically matured, then, especially the fellas get more testosterone, then we can really build some strength, build some muscle, build some power. So the mistake is people kind of, in this window, this like magic window that's going to be closed and sort of gone forever, you're trying to make them strong. And I know you're not saying that, you're asking, but a lot of people think, oh, my kid's got to be stronger because they're only 9 and they get pushed off the puck. When really what you should be working on based on their developmental stage is motor patterns. catching, puck handling, skating. So that's where you should focus. Even different sports, they learn that vocabulary of movement and different movement patterns. Then as they get older, you can worry about strength training. I'm going to get going. I'm going to answer like 2 more questions. And then we'll go. My goal is to become the emergency backup for the Canucks. That would be sick. That would be so awesome. That'll be really fun. And I think you said we're going to talk tomorrow at noon, so that'll be really, really great. How excited are you for this program? Yeah, Danny, we talked about it, and yeah, I get so excited. I'm super excited. Like, I am super excited. Okay, gang. Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm gonna get to bed. You guys can do the same or not. I really wanted to try and keep this to an hour, okay, one more. What should you do if you are under 14 and want to perform at your best ability along with the things you said in the video? Do the things I said in the video. And work on your skating and work on your puck handling. Yeah. There isn't. So this is the thing, like so many goalies like, yeah, but like, what's the secret? What's the secret thing I need to do? It's like, nope, there's no secret. You just need to follow this framework and work hard on the right things. So everybody, have a good night. Thank you so much for joining in. I had a blast. I hope you guys had a blast. If you had a blast, say whoop whoop. Danny, Ray, I'm pumped to be working with you guys soon. Oh my gosh, Paul Blair, you are in Scotland. Next time I'm in Scotland, and I will be there in not this fall, but the following fall. I'm going to do the West Highland Way. I will buy you a pint. Hold me to it. Remind me that I said that. Everybody else, you guys I won't buy everybody else a pint. You guys have a fantastic night. Thanks so much. Cheers.